have a problem with drugs? The answer, I guess, is on who you ask. Current wrestlers often say no. What no one can argue with is this: wrestling has a real problem right now with death. Peter Smith, professional wrestler, and your show is Wrestling Reality on the Fight Network. Welcome to OTR.
Thank you very much.
I guess you won't deny doing drugs, because we'll see later on you have done steroids on camera.
I have.
Welcome to the show, Mauro Ranallo, the host on the Fight Network, and one of our favorite guests. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Michael. Always
Dan Lovransky, the co-host of Live Audio Wrestling. Good to see you, Dan.
Thanks, Michael.
And Will Strickland, a semi-regular here, the president of the Urban Music Association of Canada. Welcome back.
Thank you, Michael.
To date, nobody has suggested that wrestling forced anyone to take drugs or wrestle injured, but as wrestlers die one after the other, we have to look at that world and ask this simple question: is wrestling to blame for creating a world that clearly rewards those who do steroids, takes painkillers, and ignores injuries?
Personally, I don't think wrestling can be blamed. I don't think that they've taken any measures to make the situation better. However, you know, if you're going to blame wrestling, why don't you blame Major League Baseball? Why don't you blame the Olympics?
But Peter, we are, with all due respect, wrestling. Look at you and your size. I mean, look at Batista. Look at John Cena. If you have a body like mine, and let's face it, I've been involved in pro wrestling business. I can cut a promo as good as anyone. I can put those butts in seats. But I'm not blessed with the genetics. Vince McMahon would not reward me. If I can outwork Dave Batista any day of the week. He won't reward me.
Yeah, well, you won't be able to play Major League Baseball either, or go to the Olympics. So, you know, I don't think anyone's really trying to solve. If steroids are a problem, and of course they are to a certain extent, I don't think anybody's really trying to fix it. So you can't point just at pro wrestling.
The main problem is that it's there. I think that it's there and that it's readily available to the wrestlers if they want to use it. I mean, you always have extreme examples in every type of sport. There's going to be certain guys that will abuse things. There'll be other guys that will use the.
You don't believe steroids is the norm in wrestling?
It is
the norm,
because it's based on an aesthetic look.
But I think the issues that come out of it are not always from just, you know, the same. It depends on the individual. A lot of it really does. You know, Peter is an example. I think. I mean, we know he's using steroids. He's admitted to using steroids. He's not running around raging, freaking out.
But let's say
stuff
this.
Like that.
Let's say this. You know, the reward system in wrestling is set up on how many dates you do and what you're willing to do that the next guy may not be willing to do. And if that's taking steroids, if that's doing the 310 dates instead of 250 dates, whatever it is that puts you in that situation, you're willing to do that because you want that career, you want that fame, but at what cost? And I think that while I wouldn't necessarily blame wrestling, wrestling has some culpability here. Yeah. And when we say wrestling, let's not gloss it over. Let's talk about the man who runs wrestling, Vince McMahon. Yeah. Let's be clear on who it is.
I think it's clear that if there's a wellness program, that it's not being taken too seriously at the highest level. I think we can all agree on that. But I really don't believe that the deaths in wrestling are due to steroids, personally. I think that painkillers are the big issue.
Right, and that's what I would say. Right, and that's what, sorry to interrupt, but that's what I mentioned in the introduction was it's the combination, and you never know how it's weighted because you just never unravel it that way. But whether it's painkillers or steroids or concussions or just the overall lifestyle, there's no question that it's damaging because there's no question guys are dying. Now, I want you to talk me through the clip from your series, Wrestling Reality. You're actually shooting up anabolic steroids at this point?
Yeah.
Now, why are you doing that?
Well, at this particular time, I was on the road for a few months and then off for a couple weeks and back on the road. And you know, I rely on a look in the ring, you know, more so than wrestling ability. I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'6", and I like to keep my body weight around 300 pounds, fairly hard. And for me to earn my living, I need to look a certain way.
How about the risk that comes with that?
Well, I guess it's a personal choice. In my opinion, it's worth the risk. I go for checkups. You know, I live a healthy life in most other aspects. You know,
why do you have to use steroids though to get that look, Peter, or to make yourself marketable, or to earn a living in professional wrestling? Why is that look so important and not more? You're a great talker. You're one of the best promo guys I've heard. Obviously, you're born with natural genetics. Why steroids?
I'm not born with natural genetics. When I graduated high school, I was 175 pounds. I'm sitting here right now at 295 pounds. So, you know, I was a hard gainer. I was in the gym for years before. And truth be told, I did have a good physique before I took steroids. Steroids took me to another level. Also, I'm dealing with a lot of serious injuries in my career. I've had a torn pec, I've had a torn bicep. You know, I've had a hard time training the last couple of years, and you know, it's just something that I've decided to do to get me over the hump.
Isn't the real issue here the abuse of the steroids? I mean, the fact that people, they're available, and people take them to these insane levels. I mean, I just think the fact that the painkillers are there and the stuff is so readily available, and that's why you need the wellness policy, because there's always going to be guys that are going to abuse what's there, and as long as you have that, you're going to continue to have the deaths.
You know what? I don't know if fans even really care, and it's in any sport or any sports entertainment arena, whether these athletes are doing that. What they want to come and see is the entertainment. They want to see the home runs. They want to see the body slams.
Well, I agree that the fans need to wake up as well, absolutely.
Is the real issue within the media? Is it the real issue that government has nothing better to talk about, and so they'll say, oh, well, we'll talk about these steroids and how they're ruining this sports
Government needs to be involved, because nothing's going to get done unless the government gets involved.
What
Vince McMahon has had a million times. He's been on and off the drug policy through the years. He's tried several times. When the media or the government or people don't pay attention, he just goes back to the same old.
And Peter, and seriously, you get it's a drug, not more like an addiction to the drug. You look in the mirror, you're addicted to what you see.
You agree with that, Peter?
Oh, absolutely. And I've always been the first to say, if nobody was taking steroids, I'd be happy. You know, if it was an even playing ground, I'd be delighted.
Where do you get the steroids from? I don't mean a name.
No, black market.
Black market.
Black market.
Because you can't go to a doctor and get them.
I probably could, but I've got a good black market source.
A few doctors on the internet that would help you out.
Hopefully, customs isn't at the front door.
And when you watch WWE, if you're watching Raw, do you know who's on the juice and who's not? I'm not asking you who is, but can you tell?
To a certain extent, there are certain people that are really gifted genetically that don't need to take steroids.
I'm on the juice.
I can tell. Orange juice.
And on that note, we say don't forget, really off the record today, it's more from Chris Jericho talking about his near-death experience with the mob in Japan. Go to tsn.ca/OTR. And later, on Next Question, Chris Jericho returns. The author is going to speculate how many of the current wrestlers could actually read his book.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg, brought to you by Garnier Fructis. No visible flakes, satisfaction guaranteed. Garnier Fructis Anti-Dandruff Shampoo.
Not that long ago, Vince McMahon told everybody that wrestling was fake. It didn't hurt his business one bit. But now, wrestling's business is being hurt by competitors whose results, as you just saw, are not predetermined and where guys tap out, not faking pain, but because their limbs will break. Do you agree that mixed martial arts has really hurt wrestling?
To a degree, Michael, mixed martial arts has hurt wrestling because of the fact that it is what you just said. It is the evolution of pro wrestling. It is real, with real athletes, real fighters in that personality versus personality. But I think wrestling has really hurt itself with the fact that what they are feasting upon the audience. I think wrestling's booking has digressed.
But the good thing to come out of it, though, Mauro, I think, is that it's good competition for Vince McMahon. Like, Vince McMahon needs competition to really raise his game. Remember when WCW was really challenging in the late 90s and Vince raised his game and literally kicked their butts right off the landscape? They're not even around anymore. And I think MMA is good for Vince in that it adds competition, and he'll think smarter, hopefully.
I don't see where the competition is. I think you're comparing apples to oranges right here.
I disagree completely.
Because
I think
wrestling is sports entertainment, and
come on.
MMA is more
for sport.
No, wait.
Boxing sports entertainment.
No, but it's a little different. We know this is scripted like a TV show or a movie.
Yeah,
these guys are really going out here and cracking each other in the faces and the whole mess.
Yeah, but it's all
one at a time. One at a time.
Fighting who?
And those personalities in wrestling have much more personality than the guys in MMA.
Yeah, but the guys in MMA who are making the money are the guys with personality.
One at a time.
I agree with Will. all. I think that there's no reason why a fan can't like both.
Oh, definitely. I agree with that as well.
And you don't have to compare them.
It's not as different
And yeah,
as you think.
all sports are entertainment, but you don't have to make choices. You can like.
Well, people do make
sports,
choices.
you know, you can
I
still-
would agree that if someone was at home thinking, man, I can't watch wrestling now because I like UFC, then there would be a problem. But fans make choices all the time. And right now, that clicker is going to UFC a lot more often than it's going to WWE.
He talks
So
about the
it's
personalities. He talks about the
entertaining.
personalities.
That's
Tito
because
Ortiz,
one at a time.
Tito Ortiz, Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock is over the hill as an MMA fighter, but he was a big enough personality, a big enough name and draw that he and Tito Ortiz, years after it should have mattered, drew the biggest television audience for an MMA fight. That is straight out of pro wrestling marketing 101.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. There is synergy. There is a symbiotic relationship between the two.
Does that mean that UFC is hurting wrestling?
I don't.
I don't think it, I would
so.
totally disagree to that.
Absolutely.
I don't
I think
think
I think
wrestling's
wrestling's hurting
Dude,
wrestling.
the pay-per-view buys, the pay-per-view buys for UFC are already beating WWE on a regular basis. It's well known.
Here's why I agree with Dan, because what you have is in UFC is you have the drama, the intrigue, the personalities to some extent of wrestling, but you got it done for real. Guys aren't slapping each other on the chest. They're not tapping out. They're faking it. It's the real stuff.
Yep.
So it's almost like this hybrid of wrestling, which wrestling can't compete with because this thing is real.
I mean, this already happened in Japan years ago, where they tried to take pro wrestling organizations and make the matches look as realistic as possible, and it led to the MMA
And
boom.
that was the precursor of what is now mixed martial arts. But I still think wrestling will always be around because wrestling is a soap
it'll
opera
always be
for
around, but
men.
it doesn't
And, you
have
know,
to try
it
to
is-
be
Hold on one second.
competitive
Peter?
with UFC. It doesn't have
Oh,
to
it does,
try.
though.
All it has to do is change in a way that'll bring the fans back. And the way
What
that
should
it
it
worked,
be?
the way that
I'm
it worked
interested.
best was good versus evil.
That's exactly
Even if you
right.
go back to cartoonish characters like Nikolai Volkov, you know that worked. Why wouldn't it work again?
But one
They're
of the
gonna
most
bring children back.
But
into
Peter, one of the most
fan
successful
base.
wrestlers in history was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he
Yeah.
was one of the first guys to blur the line.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
He wasn't good. He wasn't evil. You didn't know what he was, but you couldn't stop watching.
But that's
Yeah.
because it's become over-scripted, I think. If you allow a guy like Austin, a guy like The Rock to be themselves, you have one of the greatest talkers in the world, Ric Flair, reading from a script. Give me a break.
On that note, we say thanks to all of you. Will Strickland, good to see you. You're going to New Zealand and Australia. Good luck
Yes,
with
sir.
that.
Thank you.
Moro, awesome job on the show. Dan
Thank you.
Lovransky, it's Live Audio Wrestling, and I can't wait to see your show on the Fight Network. It's called Wrestling Reality.
Every Tuesday night.
Thanks for doing the show. Come back again and do it
Thank
soon.
you. Will do.
Next question with Chris Jericho. How much fun is that? Here's a question for me. Hey, Michael, would you have a better chance at lasting 1 minute in a UFC fight or in a WWE ladder match? Well, I can tell
Neither
you.
one.
Hold on. Anyone who's seen me at home knows I don't work well on a ladder.